This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Thank you for listening to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 717. That is right. Welcome to the podcast. You can check us out at markinout.com. Make sure that you are downloading and subscribing and giving a 5-star rating with that 5-star frog splash over on iTunes. Scratch that, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, buy a t-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Go ahead, give us a like on Facebook. We don't check it. Check us out on Twitter at markinout. Check us out on Instagram at markinout11. Check us out on TikTok at markinout. You can follow me on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Follow Chris at Chris Sweendog on Twitter and CMSweeney85 on Instagram. And do not, I said do not forget to follow Brandon on all social media platforms. Not just one, not just two. All social media platforms at BTTG161. That being said, Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing awesome as always, and Instagram and Twitter are what I have. It's just two. So.
All right, so just follow two.
Yeah.
Not one though, not one, but you can
Right.
follow just two, and you'll get away with it.
Yeah.
So happy Halloween, brother.
Yeah, but people, by the time they listen to this, it's no longer Halloween. So last week was the Halloween episode.
Yes, we celebrated Halloween. Spoiler, it's today. We celebrated Halloween in great ways, and in great ways, I mean nothing at all. Did you get any trick-or-treaters?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But we haven't gotten trick-or-treaters at all, really, so I don't expect any tonight. I know someone who got a huge
Why
trick.
would people come around in the evening, though?
What do you mean? That's when trick-or-treating happens.
That late at night?
Yeah, what do you mean? That's always. You don't go at like 9 o'clock or something. The typical
that's
time
what I'm
is
thinking,
like
9 o'clock.
Yeah, no, you do like 4:30 to like 7 or something like that. 7's kind of pushing it, but
Yeah, 7's kind of like let people get to sleep. I mean, come on now, don't be rude.
But I was gonna say someone who got a huge trick this week, even though they went on record to state not, Dwayne Wade. I have to talk about that statue.
Boy, oh boy, did he get that was something else.
He went on like
and
defense mode.
He agreed to it.
But did you see the defense mode that he went on? He's like, how many people in here have a statue? Do you? No. Do you? No. I think the sculpture in clay looked like him. The actual final product, I feel terrible. It looks like that Roman Reigns graphic that they used to use for his entrance. I'd be upset with something like that.
Yeah, I'd be really annoyed. They butchered it.
I gotta say, last week we spoke about the World Series. I didn't expect it to be over so soon.
I know, the Yankees just couldn't put up a fight. Really unfortunate, you know?
That one fan apparently was friends with Gronk in college. The one that
I saw that.
tried
and
to
Gronk
steal the ball.
Gronk sounded like such an idiot.
I
moron.
think that was quite possibly the most entertaining thing I've ever seen in a World Series game.
I think that was idiotic.
Give him
the fans
World
should be
Series
banned.
tickets forever. Give him season tickets to the Yankees. Give him a Topps baseball card. Everything.
Fans should be banned for life by the MLB. And Gronkowski is just sounding stupid, putting the guy over.
That was funny. No, it was.
That
funny.
was not
it was,
funny. That's
it was
stupid.
funny and it was stupid. It could be both. It
was
100%
very
be
stupid.
both. But it was also very funny.
Not really.
You're not going to get me to say that wasn't funny because I thought that was hilarious.
I hope that I hope that Mookie Betts actually sues the fan for assault on him having his wrist grabbed like that.
He won the World Series. I don't think that's going to...
So?
I don't think he's going to be suing anybody.
I hope so.
I don't think that's going to happen. I did see, I forget what news outlet, somebody, they posted it. It was like an actual news outlet that edited the photo to put the World Series championship in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, they couldn't pry it out of his hands. And I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Dodgers won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Were you rooting for the Yankees or what? You're rooting against them? How's that work?
I was rooting for the Yankees. I wanted to see them win.
I was disappointed. After everything that came out of the beginning of the season with Shohei Ohtani,
mm-hmm.
that does something in me where I'm like, I'm done with this person. I wish them zero success. Because I don't believe...
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty conspiracy theory right there, but...
Yeah, I don't even know. But, yeah, unfortunately the Dodgers won. I wanted to see the Yankees win for Chris and Sal and our friends who are Yankee fans.
Would you have gone to the ticker tape parade?
No.
My friend had said if the Yankees win, he's taking off work to go, and he was saying I should go. I was like, I don't know if I want to be around all those people in Manhattan like that going absolutely bananas for sports, but I don't know, maybe I would have gone.
Yeah.
Because when else, I mean, we just had the Liberty win, but
true.
When else are we getting these kind of parades?
True. Very true.
So,
but
there's always next year with the Mets
always
and the
next
Yankees.
Yeah, let's go Mets.
Well, how was your week? I didn't do much.
Yeah, I did not do much either. Nothing really to report over here. But, yeah, let's get on to it. Let's talk about some Monday Night Raw.
Which opened up with Jey Uso, and he said that there's only one person he wants to talk to, and then Jimmy Uso came out. He thanked Jey. Jimmy spoke about being the ones, and Jey kind of got pissed off at that. He's like, we're not the ones. And he said that if they do this, they have to not be yes men. They have to be Jimmy Uso. They have to be Jey Uso. And he wants a conversation with Roman Reigns, which we'll put a pin in. But Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa tried to jump them. They fought them off. Then Jacob Fatu was directed into the ring and took them down. Solo slid a steel chair into the ring, and Jacob Fatu went to use it, but Jey threw it at him. The Usos came back and took them out. So, I thought that was a good way to open Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid opener. I like that it really got the fans involved, especially with... I think the fans are very involved with the Bloodline, but more so when the Usos and Roman Reigns are involved.
Later on, though, the Usos ran into Sami Zayn, and Sami asked if they can talk alone. I believe it was to Jey. Yeah, to Jey. And then Sami ends up yelling at him for what Roman Reigns had put him through for years. And he's like, you shouldn't have to choose the lesser of two evils. It's not your fight anymore. And he said that he doesn't understand why Jey would go back and do that. And Jey fired back. He goes, you wouldn't understand. You're not family. Which, like, that's like a dagger. After everything that they went through, that's like a dagger in my heart, at least. But Jey, he did defend Sami Zayn later on to Jimmy. And then even later on, the Usos saw Sami Zayn talking to Solo Sikoa. So that is like one of the most put a pin sort of things in it situations.
Yeah. A lot to come of that discussion, potentially.
If you rewind a few months ago, when the Bloodline, everything was all fine and they were all together, Solo Sikoa did say at one point, if I ever need help, I would come to you. I don't know if that's going to tie into this with Sami Zayn.
Oh, I did not know that. I didn't remember that.
We'll see what happens with that. The first match on Monday Night Raw saw Sheamus pick up the victory over Ludwig Kaiser. This was hard-hitting. And as long as this match was, I feel like the ending, for me at least, was unexpected. Like, not unexpected, abrupt. Like, Sheamus, he hit the knee, he hit the bro kick, and then it was just, like, done. I feel like the bro kick kind of... I wasn't expecting it then. I did enjoy the match, though.
I thought it was definitely a solid match. I was a fan of it. I think that... I don't know the direction of Sheamus, though. Like,
yeah,
he's been having great matches, but what's the objective? Like, is he going to go... I can't see him going for the
World
Heavyweight
Heavyweight
World
Championship
Championships over there, right?
I mean, it's completely possible given, I mean, he's feuding right now with Kaiser, kind of Gunther, but not really. Maybe there's just a pin in that.
Maybe. I can't see anything coming from it, though. Next up, you had Ivy Nile pick up the victory over Zelina Vega. This had a ton of action, especially on the outside of the ring.
Yeah. But this match stemmed from last week. Zelina Vega controlled most of this match. But Julius Creed ends up holding Ivy's arms when Zelina Vega went for that code red. Then the LWO and the Creeds brawled, and that led to Ivy Nile getting the victory there.
Yeah, a lot of distractions taking place. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was short.
Wish it was longer. I know what you were just about to say it was short, but...
Yeah, I thought that it was short but sweet.
Yeah, I just wish there was more to it.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Seth Rollins came out, and he said that Bronson Reed is a monster, but he is also a monster, and Bronson Reed woke that monster up. And Bronson Reed needs to remember that he's a monster. And Bronson Reed interrupted that on the screen. He challenged Seth Rollins to come fight him find him. Why did I keep saying it? Sounded weird to me. Did that not sound weird? He was challenging him to find him. I don't know. That for me in my head it sounded weird. He wanted to find him in the parking lot, and Adam Pearce tried his hardest. People, by the way, that kind of went. I don't want to say viral, but people were going nuts over Seth Rollins, where he took off his blue leather jacket to reveal a blue leather shirt. People were kind of comparing it to Sting, where he would take off his mask and it would still be Sting under there.
Yeah, I saw that got a lot of discussions about him taking off the jacket to reveal the same thing underneath.
But it's not really the same thing, but I understand what people were saying with that.
Yeah.
But Adam Pearce tried to stop Seth Rollins, and Seth didn't care. And then he and Bronson Reed brawled. Security tried to stop it. They kept fighting. Seth hit a curb stomp on the hood of the car.
I mean, and the setup of that was really cool, too, with using the truck to just knock him silly. And then once he laid down just for a moment on the car, that's where the curb stomp happened. And what I really liked about this part was Seth Rollins started to walk away and cut a promo into the camera itself.
Yeah.
And while he's cutting a promo, you just hear commotion happening behind him. And it's Bronson Reed, like, waking up from this curb stomp that he just took. And then, of course, Seth Rollins goes back over to him, and then they start to brawl again, leading to a Death Valley driver through a table off of the car.
From the truck bed.
Yeah, the truck bed. Very entertaining.
My fingers are crossed for Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're doing this. This is like, where else you take it? It has to be something big.
Yeah. I feel like everything with Seth Rollins, like he was saying that this is a new side of him or anything like that. Like he woke up whatever he was previously. I think that it's important that we get that new side of Seth Rollins because I'm getting a little bit tired. I want him to return to that style that we used to have. More ruthless.
I don't know, man. I think character-wise, the worst thing we've ever seen Seth Rollins do was in that Hell in a Cell match against The Fiend.
I don't remember.
Where Seth Rollins the referee was like begging him not to. He ends up taking a sledgehammer and bashing it over the Fiend's, I guess, head. And that's how the match ended. If that's the monster that's awakened in Seth Rollins, I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Also backstage, we had the Alpha Academy. They met up with R-Truth, and then The Miz showed up to apologize to R-Truth. And Maxine told R-Truth not to listen, and then he made fun of Alpha Academy, and R-Truth was like, let me talk to Miz. And they do their awesome truth handshake. Miz thinks everything is perfectly fine between the two of them. And R-Truth was like, oh, I have something for you. And he pulls back and punches him right in the face. And he wished him luck against the Wyatts. So I thought that was funny.
I thought that was good, too. He's like, you're going to die.
And then later on, Miz yelled at Adam Pearce about the Wyatt Six. And the Final Testament interrupted. And Miz's game plan was to run when they see the Wyatts. And Karrion Kross was like, no, you're going to go find Bo Dallas. Or you're going to get your legs broken, basically. And then there was nothing else from that on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
But I'll put a pin in that until we talk about the next thing.
Okay.
We saw the War Raiders pick up the victory over the LWO and New Day to become the number one contenders. That's what come on. We wanted this.
Yeah, this is what we expected.
It started with Kofi Kingston and Dragon Lee teaming up to take on Ivar. But then they stupidly went after each other. That's a big mistake. Especially since Ivar wasn't like fully out of it. But the match itself got a bit chaotic for me at times. Even though the War Raiders were like the clear winners to me, I'm glad that it wasn't a one-sided match. But New Day, they went to go do a double team move, and Xavier Woods stopped mid-move to go after Rey Mysterio. That's like the opposite of Tag Team 101. And LWO turned that around and got the upper hand, and then Chad Gable showed up, locked Rey Mysterio in an ankle lock, and it led to Kofi Kingston being beat down and being delivered that finish by the War Raiders.
Yeah, this has got to lead to something with the New Day, obviously, but I don't know what.
Off air, I don't always see these segments, but off air, the Miz ran into New Day. They were outside arguing about Xavier Woods not just going for the move and instead going for Rey Mysterio. Miz ends up going to his bus and gets kidnapped by Dexter Loomis on his own bus.
And there's no obvious, it's obvious, but there's no acknowledgement of it on TV at the time. No. It's just the focus is on the New Day.
That wasn't even TV. It was the internet.
Yeah, like you just notice in the background that he opens up the door and you have Loomis there, right? It was Loomis?
Yeah.
Yeah, Loomis just staring at him and then just pulls him right into that bus. So it's possible that Miz is actually dead right now.
Well, no, I'm sure Bo Dallas found him, I guess. But I was 100% expecting to see Bo Dallas on Monday Night Raw, but they didn't have anything else with that on Monday Night Raw. So if I didn't see that segment, I'm sure they'd maybe replay it on Monday Night Raw next week, but yeah. I didn't understand that.
In the main event of the evening, Dominic picked up the victory over Damian Priest to become the number one contender. Wow. What about that?
Carlito got this match made for Dominic. Adam Pearce said that Dominic will face a former champion. People thought it was going to be Goldberg. And I will say, in regards to people thinking that it was going to be Goldberg, I wish the opponent, if they were going to do it the way they did it, I wish the opponent was an actual surprise. Because I think Damian Priest was somebody who could have been announced beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still one of those, like, trees to climb for Dominic. Like, it's not somebody like, oh my God, it's Bill Goldberg that he has to beat. It's just somebody that he already knows.
Yeah. And Dominic, I'm excited to see him in this role right now. I'm really excited to see him in this role right now. I think that he's going to soar in this position as he has already, especially with Liv Morgan by his side. Everything that with Dominic and Liv, and even Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, it has been so entertaining. Dare I say, maybe not on the level of the Bloodline, but same same caliber. Where when they do appear on the screen, you want to see what's about to happen.
So in the actual match itself, the Judgment Day ended up taking Damian Priest down when Liv Morgan was distracting the referee. Damian Priest came back from that and ends up taking them down, but it distracted him enough for Dominic to roll him up, grab the pants, get it. I think an unexpected victory there. And then Damian Priest beat all of them down after the match.
Yeah, he was not having any of it. Just demolishing everybody. I mean, Carlito, I feel bad. Carlito did nothing. He just slid into the ring at the wrong time.
Can you see Dominic beating Gunther?
I'm going to say no.
I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. If it, like, somehow, like, I don't know who would be next. I mean,
the problem is, there's a big problem with that, though. What are you going to say?
I mean, the way Eddie Guerrero won the championship was Goldberg. If we do end up seeing Goldberg versus Gunther, that's more than enough fuel. If Goldberg somehow gets in there and helps him, I don't know.
So the reason why I don't think we're going to see that is because if he does do that, and he does defeat Gunther, what are the fans going to react to that?
I mean, they're going to boo.
If he defeats Gunther, how would they respond, do you think?
The actual fans will boo. The IWC will tear it apart.
You think? I think that the fans are going to end up cheering it a little bit.
I don't think so. He still gets booed out of the building. I can't see him being cheered like that.
I don't know, because it's tough to say, because I feel like if he does defeat Gunther, that there's a possibility of him being cheered for defeating Gunther.
I don't see that at all. The Judgment Day are one of the most booed groups outside of the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see that.
Yeah.
Moving back to Halloween Havoc, we had NXT had a premium live event. Gigi Dolan did the cold open, which I thought was also cool to see footage from Hershey Park. I don't know if we've seen that before when they've been there. Monday Night Raw was also at Hershey Park. Well, the premise.
Premises.
But the show opened with Tony D'Angelo picking up the victory over Oba Femi to retain the championship in a table, ladders, and scares match. Tony D'Angelo interrupted Mike Rome, who was dressed as Beetlejuice, to attack Oba Femi to start the match. Pretty early on, Oba Femi ended up going through the barricade. Later on, Oba Femi drove Tony D'Angelo through a table in the corner with like a running uppercut. And Tony, he ends up going for his crowbar, but Oba Femi had the crowbar already on the other side of the ring. And he ended up attacking Tony D'Angelo with it. Mm-hmm. And we saw what we saw on NXT the other week, where Oba Femi zip-tied Tony D'Angelo to the turnbuckle. But this time, I didn't think we were going to see the family, given that Obafemi put them through the barricade, put them through the table. I mean, through a ladder, not the barricade. A ladder, barricade.
I like this, though.
And Nikita Lyons took Adriana Rizzo out.
I like this entire part with Obafemi with the crowbar. I thought that there was a slight tease of Oba going after Rizzo on that apron. And I was a big fan of that because Rizzo was about to hit him, and then he grabs it from her. Very slowly grabs it. And right when you just didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe he was going to attack her, maybe not. That's when you had Tony just do that spear to Oba through to the outside of the ring through a ladder that was set up.
Oba took it from her, though, first.
Yeah. He took it from her and then got speared. I thought that spot was awesome.
Yeah.
But then
Rizzo and the family ended up attacking Obafemi, and they hit the shatter machine with the steel chair, and then Tony D'Angelo hit a spine buster through a table to retain the championship. I thought this was a very well done match.
I agree.
On NXT,
I definitely agree.
though, NXT, we saw Shawn Spears and Brooks Jensen wanting to talk to Tony D'Angelo, and the family show up. They're like, "You have an urgent voicemail." So Tony's like, "Excuse me." And I don't know if people popped right away as soon as the voicemail started playing. I knew who it was right away. And I popped for it.
Yeah.
It was Nunzio.
I didn't even listen to it, and right away when you sent it to me, I was like, FBI.
Yeah, Nunzio.
It has to, look at the gimmicks.
Yeah.
Who in ECW is it really going to be? It's the FBI.
He was pissed off that he had to find out secondhand that they were coming to Philadelphia next week. So what we see with that, I don't know, but I pop big time for anything with the FBI.
Yeah. I hope that they actually have Tony Mamaluke and Nunzio.
Hopefully.
And,
that'd
be cool.
I don't think we'll see Vito. That's a different incarnation of the FBI.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with Vito. I would go with what's his face. I would keep it to Mamaluke, Nunzio.
I mean, JT Smith. I think he did the one night stand back in the day. Maybe Sal. Maybe Big Guido. We'll see a bunch of ECW stuff next week. We saw on Halloween Havoc, Julia and Stephanie Vicor picked up the victory over Roxanne Perez, the champion, and Cora Jade. Julia and Stephanie worked quite well together here. Again, second tag match between the two of them.
Yeah.
I like that the referee was counting when the illegal partners were in the ring, outside of when the illegal partners were fighting one another. I liked when Julia and Roxanne were going shot for shot, but they kept moving, and then they both connected and they both fell over. We saw the double underhook suplex off the top rope, and then Stephanie Vicor pinned Roxanne Perez after the corkscrew moonsault.
That was such a sick move.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the corkscrew moonsault.
Zarya watched them after the match from a suite.
Yeah, from high up above.
You had Ridge Holland pick up the victory over Andre Chase in an ambulance match. I popped when Halloween Havoc started because they showed the ambulance, but I thought for a quick second, I thought it was an Ecto-1. But I still popped for the ambulance because it was a hearse painted up like an ambulance. Is that what ambulances looked like back in the day? I don't think so, right? I don't think they were ever hearses. That wouldn't make sense. But I thought that was pretty cool. I liked Andre Chase wearing a Freddy Krueger Chase U sweater. But this was, I think, what you would have expected from it as far as Carnage goes. The crowd popped big time for that pumpkin spot. But in the end, Ridge Holland hit his DDT on the ramp and put Andre Chase in that ambulance to lose. And I didn't expect him, or to win, I should say. And I didn't expect Andre Chase to lose that match.
What do you think the potential is of Andre Chase within the WWE?
I don't know.
I don't know how far I see Andre Chase in general outside of NXT.
The people have the same exact question about Tony D'Angelo.
Tony D'Angelo is tough because it's hard to see gimmick wrestlers.
That's what Andre Chase is. The same exact thing. It's the same conundrum.
I feel like Andre Chase is less gimmicky than, I mean, Tony D'Angelo is the gimmick. I don't know. It's tough for me to see Andre Chase do much. Tony D'Angelo, I could see that he could do a good amount. And I could see the gimmick maybe going, but I'm not sure.
But again, I mean, maybe the goal for that is to just be in NXT.
Yeah, that could definitely be it,
Like not for Andre Chase, but for Shawn Michaels and whoever wants to have Andre Chase there, because he is a veteran of the sport right now.
Yeah, that's true. Next up, you had Fallon Henley pick up the victory over Kalani Jordan in a gauntlet match to become your new North American champion. She definitely got the assist with her friends on the outside of the ring.
Well, I said last week that the smartest thing for Spinner's Choice would be for them to choose a match where Kalani Jordan is facing all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
It opened up with Jasmine Nix versus Kalani Jordan, and I thought that was pretty decent. And then JC Jane was out next, and she controlled a lot more of this, I think rightfully so. I feel like her match ended abruptly, but she attacked Kalani Jordan after the match, and then Fallon Henley had the most offense in the gauntlet. And I think it was the best matchup. Jasmine Nix came back out and distracted the referee when Kalani Jordan went for that split-legged moonsault. She went for a 450, and JC Jane got up on the apron. She got kicked off, but Fallon got her knees up, and she hit that the Shining Wizard to pick up the victory, which I, again, did not expect that outcome at all. But I'm happy to see Fallon Henley as champion.
No, I didn't expect Fallon Henley to be champion, but she definitely deserves to be champion.
And she went to go speak after the match, and Zarya showed up. But this time, she was in the ring behind the three of them and took all three of them out.
Yeah, leave her mark right there and then.
Putting a big pin in that.
Now, next up, you had Trick Williams pick up the victory over Ethan Page in the Devil's Playground matchup to retain his championship. Trick Williams, I mean, it was a good match. You had the big...
talk about the match.
Huh?
I said, before we talk about the match, I gotta say I hated that Trick Williams wore a Willy Wonka-inspired outfit. I give him credit for doing the Gene Wilder role during his entrance. But Wonka bars are Nestle, and they were in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Huh.
So
that's interesting.
But I did like this match. I liked Ethan Page making fun of Vic Joseph for wearing the David S. Pumpkin suit. And then he ended up with a jack-o'-lantern on his head. And I like that they used the broken ladder from the table ladders and scares match. I thought that was a nice recycling of weapons that I don't necessarily remember if we've seen that in the past, where they would use a recycled weapon like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Ethan Page, at one point, he had a big bag of nuts and bolts. I expected it to be candy corn, but it was actual something that could hurt you, I guess. Trick Williams got busted open in his mouth, which is something that Ethan Page spoke about on NXT last week. And then he put Trick Williams through the commentary table with the Ego's Edge. Medical staff tried to stop Trick.
Yeah, I think that it was really good that you had that bleeding in the mouth, especially because the week before you had Ethan Page talking about him being able to taste blood in his mouth and the iron, that metallic taste that you have.
Yeah.
So now Trick Williams can say that he knows how it tastes.
And they ended up both low blowing one another at one point, but Trick hit the trick shot, picked up the victory there. And then Ridge Holland attacked Trick Williams after the match. And Ethan Page yelled at him, which I thought was going to lead to Ethan Page getting shut down by Ridge Holland as well. But Ethan Page ended up feeding Trick to Ridge. And Bubba Ray Dudley made the save for Trick Williams. Ridge on the kickoff show interrupted Bubba Ray And then during the show, he interrupted Bubba Ray, I believe. And you have Bubba Ray making the save.
Yeah, big play up with Busted Open. I'm not a fan of Busted Open, listening to Busted Open when it maintains kayfabe.
Right.
That's not enjoyable to me because you're just listening to now a wrestling promo, and I'd rather listen to them dissect like how they actually feel. So it is kind of like a downer that they are now playing storyline wise, but it is really cool to see Bubba Ray back. I don't remember the last time we saw Bubba Ray. I think last time we saw Bully Ray, right? I think last time in WWE he was Bully Ray.
I don't think not on purpose, if anything. Because there's no way we would have been able to see Bully Ray. It would have always been Bubba Ray if you were WWE.
I think that it may have been Bully when he did that when he did that Royal Rumble spot.
No. There's 0% chance it was Bully Ray.
Interesting.
0% chance. Yeah, that was the only time we would have ever heard. I mean, even when they were speaking as Bully Ray, it was Bubba Ray.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no.
But moving to NXT, it opened with something that spawned from the Halloween Havoc event. Backstage, we saw Tatum Paxley pick up the victory over Wendy Chu in a casket match. The first ever women's casket match in WWE. I popped big time for Wendy Chu being dressed up like Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And I was really pumped for this match when they announced it for on the Halloween Havoc event. And I think they completely delivered. I thought this was a great match. They used Tatum Paxley's dollhouse, which she ended up getting hip tossed into. Wendy Chu dumped out a bunch of Lego bricks, and Tatum Paxley was slammed onto those. I like that spot that they did where both of them ended up in the casket and the lid closed on them. And Wendy Chu, the referee's like, no. Like, obviously there has to be one person there. Wendy Chu brought out a bed with her, and she ended up going through that right before Tatum Paxley threw her into the casket and won. I thought this was very, very well done. There was even that other spot where Tatum Paxley was in the casket and the lid was closed. I thought that was the end of the match, but there was Wendy Chu's pillow was preventing it from being 100% closed. So Pax was able to get out that way.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, this was a very well done match between the two of them.
Yeah, I agree.
After that, we had Trick Williams come out, and he spoke about Ethan Page, and he said he didn't know Ridge Holland would do what he did, basically. And then he called Bubba Ray out, and he spoke about how nobody came to help out Trick Williams. He was getting beat down, and he pointed to the championship as the reason why nobody came out to help Trick Williams at Halloween Havoc. And then Trick asked Bubba if he would team with him to face Ethan Page and Ridge Holland. And Bubba Ray, uncharacteristically, turned him down because he didn't want to take anyone's spot. And then later on, you had Ethan Page come out, and he said that he's not done with the NXT Championship. Ridge Holland came out and said that everyone's tired of him. He's had his shot after shot after shot, and it's him that wants to take the title from Trick Williams. He mentioned Bubba Ray, and Bubba Ray came out to talk. I thought that part of the segment was very well done. Bubba Ray finally ends up snapping. He attacked Ridge Holland. Ethan Page takes him down, and they both go after him. Trick Williams makes the save. Bubba Ray makes the match. So next week on NXT 2300, I think is what they're calling it, we're going to see the champion Trick Williams, Bubba Ray Dudley, first time wrestling in an NXT ring, versus Ethan Page and Ridge Holland.
I cannot I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Very, very much so looking forward to next week's episode of NXT.
Yeah, I agree.
You had Charlie Dempsey pick up the victory over Lexis King to retain the Heritage Cup. William Regal was in Lexis King's corner.
Yeah, stemming from an interview that Lexis King did previously where William Regal pretty much said he's going to take him under his wing, and he doesn't want him to be, he respects that he doesn't want to be his dad.
There was no mention of Charlie Dempsey being his son either.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. At first I thought like...
We've heard it in the past, I believe. But in that particular moment where he's facing Lexis King, I don't think they mentioned that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But Dempsey actually got pinned in round 1. In round 2, Lexis King got dumped to the outside and he hurt his knee. And he got back into the match and he had the bad knee still, which Charlie Dempsey worked on throughout round 3. And he ended up getting the victory. William Regal tried to fire him up, but he also consoled him after losing. So maybe we will see this mentorship between William Regal and Lexis King.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see it play forward. It's going to be very interesting. Next up, you had Zarya pick up the victory over Brindley Reese. Zarya, monster.
Yeah, she did that that arm gimmick, that bent forward, backward arm gimmick that the women are somehow able to do in NXT. And there was a spot later on when Brindley Reese went to use that same arm for a clothesline. I think that's kind of a mistake there, but she eventually just got hit with whatever Zarya is calling her version of that F5.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a great introduction for Zarya. Then we had Fatal Influence interrupt her victory. And we had Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade show up. And the 5 of them surrounded the ring. Kalani Jordan runs in. And she's like, basically, I'm friend. I'm here to help you. Stephanie Vicor and Julia showed up. And they were like, oh, that's fine. It's still 5-on-4. We have the advantage. And then Jordan Grace showed up, returning to NXT. Even the odds. They brawled. And Ava set up a 10-woman tag match for next week. Skip the tag match. Give me War Games.
Huh?
I said skip the tag match. Give me War Games.
War Games is going to be intense.
I mean, I don't think we'll see NXT involved in that, but...
Would be nice.
Yeah, so I'm pumped for that. And Kalani Jordan goes into her match after that, picks up the victory over Nikita Lyons. I thought the match was good, but I kept expecting Adriana Rizzo to show up, and she finally showed up when Nikita Lyons went for that Vader bomb. And Kalani Jordan, still able to hit her split-legged moonsault, picks up the victory. And then Adriana Rizzo starts beating on Nikita Lyons. And Kalani Jordan pulled her off, and she's like questioning Adriana Rizzo about it. And Rizzo was like, that's who attacked me the other week. And I liked Kalani Jordan just like threw her kind of like outside the ring to continue the brawl.
Yeah, and I like that we got the continuation of that story with that's who attacked me.
Yeah, and then later on, the 5 face women were hyping themselves up for next week, and Rhea Ripley showed up to fire them up. And later on, we saw some commotion happening backstage. Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan walked away with bloodied steel bars. And they panned to what was the commotion. It was Rhea Ripley left there bloodied. And WWE announced that Rhea Ripley has a fractured orbital socket and is going to be out.
Yeah, definitely
out of action for an undisclosed amount of time.
I mean, don't know what is the legit thing with that.
They said that it was she probably got hurt when she headbutted Liv Morgan the other week.
Ah.
So they like legit wrote her off TV with that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That stinks.
After that,
Yeah, it was a good. I did like listening to the crowd specifically when Liv Morgan, when they go backstage and you just see Liv and Raquel just walking past the camera as the camera is going past them, and the crowd kind of like erupt for seeing them on camera.
Yeah.
And then as the camera goes to Rhea Ripley, I did like that.
It's weird that you could have like a broken orbital bone or whatever, and you don't look different.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of black and blue.
Well, clearly not, unless she had makeup on that like prevented us from seeing it. I don't know.
Yeah, very possible.
Because we saw her when she hyped up all the women in the locker room.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Very
the main
true.
event of NXT saw Phyraxium pick up the victory over Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans to retain the championships. This was a really hot match. I like that sequence with Javon Evans and Nathan Frazer. I like there was a time at one point where Nathan Frazer refused to tag out, and Axiom had to tag himself in, and they kind of got off page there.
Yeah, they nearly went to fighting a little bit.
They did get back on the same page eventually. I like those power bombs that Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans were able to hit. When Javon Evans, though, went for that cutter on Axiom and Cedric held Nathan Frazer outside the ring, I thought that was going to be new tag team champions right then and there. And
Yeah.
we saw Axiom reverse Javon Evans with the Canadian Destroyer after that. He eventually hit a Spanish Fly. Nathan Frazer hit a Phoenix Splash. I thought that was going to be the end. But we saw Wesley show up, and Javon Evans dove out onto him. They brawled to the back. Cedric Alexander almost won by himself, and that was, I thought, was very exciting. I was like, is he about to win this by himself? And obviously, the champions came back. They hit the Brainbuster and Golden Ratio to win. Cut backstage. The brawl between Javon Evans and Nathan Frazer continues. Earlier in the night, we saw Rob Van Dam talking to Ava, saying like, oh, Bubba Ray doesn't want to wrestle. Maybe I do or whatever. Well, I don't know what I want to do next week. It ends with Rob Van Dam like breaking it up between the two of them. And he's like, I guess I know what I want to do next week. In my head
And then
immediately.
just casually like walks away.
In my head immediately, I thought it was going to be like a guest referee spot. That wouldn't make sense because we have a special guest referee spot with Jada Parker and her match with Lola Vice because Dawn Marie is going to be a guest referee. ECW is quite famous for a three-way dance. So I think we'll probably most likely see that, and I'm very happy with that because a lot of people want to see Rob Van Dam versus Javon Evans.
I like the idea of a three-way dance.
Especially since Rob Van Dam, like people, they go absolutely nuts over him. It's not the same Rob Van Dam that we're used to.
That is very true. I think that people shouldn't have such high expectations.
That's a pun or what?
Oh, now it is.
But I think the last time we saw RVD wrestle in AEW, he looked much better than the other times.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really hoping that it's a three-way dance between the three of them.
Yeah,
And I think Javon Evans has to win that. But
I kind of hope that they don't include anybody else from ECW. I don't think that they need to just load on ECW.
Well, we know
And I told you that the other day.
Francine announced that she's going to be there.
Yeah. You got Francine, you got Dawn Marie.
But she's actually involved. We don't know what Francine's doing.
True. Very true. Honestly, something that I will mark out for.
They
that
have
I
to.
Would
They
mark out-
have to.
Huh?
They have to.
What?
They have to have Sandman there.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I thought for
you were
sure
gonna
you were
say
going to
that.
get it.
The BWO? I don't know. What were you going to say?
Tajiri.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I want to see Tajiri. I'm a huge Tajiri mark. So if they send in Tajiri versus someone, I'd be more than happy.
I don't know. I feel like we have to see Sandman. The lights got to go out. Maybe Sabu. I have no idea. We'll see what happens next week.
I don't know. It's still one of those things. You don't have to load everybody into there.
I don't know. They're going up against AEW, so they might want to load up the whole card itself. So we don't know. We don't know what they're going to do. But that is NXT. It was announced before SmackDown that Baron Corbin, Tegan Nox, and Indy Hartwell will unfortunately be gone from WWE. Baron Corbin's contract is up. They're not renewing it. They're just letting it expire. It really sucks because I'm a fan of all three of them. I think Corbin might have had the last Jim Johnson theme song, but I always hope to see Team Kick return. I know Dakota Kai was out with her injury. Tegan Nox was just off TV. I don't know why they weren't using Tegan Nox. I don't understand that at all. And Indy Hartwell, I was very surprised to see that she was listed there with everything going on with the way. And I hate when stuff like that comes out right before a show airs. It makes me not want to watch the show. But SmackDown opened with Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. This was a segment like Cody Rhodes and Gunther on Monday Night Raw to hype up Crown Jewel. Nia Jax went through all her goals that she accomplished. Liv Morgan brought up how she beat Nia Jax the last time that they fought. Tiffany Stratton interrupted, and she teased cashing in at Crown Jewel. Surprisingly, also put Nia Jax on notice. And then she questioned that if she takes Liv's championship, will Dominic be coming with it? That went to blows. It sets up a match. Liv Morgan picked up the victory over Tiffany Stratton. We saw Nia Jax distract the referees so Tiffany Stratton could use the Money in the Bank briefcase, but Liv Morgan ducked it. She rolled Tiffany Stratton up and held her trunks to get that victory. And then Liv Morgan went to attack Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Nia Jax got the better of her, though, and came back and attacked the Judgment Day. We saw Street Profits pick up the victory over Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly gave Lin-Manuel Miranda mock-ups and a CD for their musical. Off air, Lin-Manuel Miranda was dressed up like Dominic. That was, I think, pretty spot on. I thought that was great. The hot tag spot from Montez Ford when Pretty Deadly were both in the ring, I thought was cool. B-Fab got involved behind the referee's back and body slammed Elton Prince. Not much of a match here, but it did have some fun spots. We had Bayley and Naomi pick up the victory over The Way. I never even got a chance to see Indy Hartwell or Tegan Nox wrestle live. That sucks. And I have to wonder if they knew this was going to be Indy's last match. For her to have a match against Bayley in Barclays Center, I think that's crazy because NXT TakeOver Brooklyn with Bayley and Sasha Banks led to Indy Hartwell becoming a pro wrestler, I think. So for that to be her last match in WWE in the same building, I think that's definitely crazy. And I do hope that she'll be back. I hope all of them will be back. This match I thought was decent. I didn't get that tag spot at the end where Naomi got knocked off the apron and the referee counted it as a tag. Like going back, I don't think that was a tag. In my head, in my memory, I don't remember seeing a tag in that spot. But it led to the end of the match where Naomi got the victory over Candice LeRae. You had the Usos and Roman Reigns. It opened with Roman and Jimmy, with Jimmy trying to convince Roman Reigns to drop his beef with Jay. And Brooklyn, when Jey Uso came out, sang the heck out of his theme song. I thought that was so dope. And Jay said that he only took the match to get back at Solo. And he said that he's not Roman's right-hand man anymore. They're all equals. This is why Jey Uso needed to lose that Intercontinental Championship. Unfortunate, but like there's no way he could have came into this with the championship and Roman Reigns had nothing. And Jay said that if Roman Reigns speaks to him in the slightest bit of disrespect, he's out. And he asked Roman if they're going to do this, and Roman Reigns said yeet. Later on, you had the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa responding, basically just putting Jimmy J and Roman Reigns on notice for Crown Jewel. Backstage, you had Motor City Machine Guns interviewed. Chris Sabin was in the middle of answering his question, the question about what their goals are. But A-Town Down Under interrupted them, and Grayson Waller asked them to be guests on the Grayson Waller effect next week. So that gets set up. You had Io Sky pick up the victory over Bianca Belair, Lash Legend, and Piper Niven. I like that Chelsea and Piper were dressed as Deadpool and Wolverine. We did see Lash Legend and Piper Niven working together in this. It was very chaotic at times. I liked when they were working together against Bianca, and Io hit a drop kick from the top rope, knocked everybody down. We saw Piper Niven hit a Samoan drop to Io, and at the same time, Bianca Belair hit a power bomb on Piper Niven to trigger that Samoan drop. Chelsea Green ended up breaking up a pin, which led to Jakara Jackson getting involved, Kairi Sane, Jade Cargill got involved. I didn't like when Jade Cargill got into the ring, though. But that led to the distraction where Bianca Belair was able to hit a KOD on Lash Legend. And then almost immediately after she hit that, Io Sky hit a moonsault. And she stole the victory from Bianca Belair. So that only adds to the question of whether or not the champions could lose their titles at Crown Jewel. They very much so can. In the main event of SmackDown, we saw Legacy pick up the victory over Imperium. I would have preferred for this match to happen either on Monday Night Raw or not at all. I don't need to see Cody Rhodes face Gunther the night before Cody Rhodes faces Gunther. The end of the match came about. Cody hit a top rope Cody cutter on Ludwig Kaiser. He went for a crossroads, but he had to duck Gunther, so he lets Kaiser out of that. Orton ends up dropping Gunther with an RKO. And then Cody hit the crossroads, picked up the victory. Like I said, I don't think I needed this match. But they rolled credits. Kevin Owens shows up. He wasn't even supposed to be there. Attacked Randy Orton with a chair. And Gunther locked Cody Rhodes in a sleeper. They eventually have like agents, security, referees, all trying to break that. And Gunther SmackDown literally ended with Cody in a sleeper. So that's SmackDown. Gonna move over to predictions for Crown Jewel taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We have the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and the Usos taking on the new Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and or Jacob Fatu. I think Roman Reigns and the Usos have to win this.
I am going to go with Roman Reigns and the Usos.
We have
Roman Reigns and the Usos.
Fatal four-way match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair are defending the titles against Damage Control, Metaphor, and Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. I'm gonna say the champions retain.
I think you're going champions retain.
I wouldn't mind if like Chelsea Green like accidentally won or something, but I feel like the champions, because they just got those titles back.
Ah, that's true. That's true.
So I don't want to see them lose.
All right,
so soon.
Yeah, that's very true. Now that you brought it up, I'm going to retain. Triple threat match for the United States Championship. LA Knight defending against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I'm going to go with LA Knight.
This is a difficult one to pick. We had Game 7, last week on SmackDown, interrupted by the special guest referee, LA Knight, I feel like that can lead to a new champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really like to see Andrade walk out as champion.
All right, so you're picking Andrade?
Against probably my better judgment, I'm going to say Andrade walks out as the United States champion.
All right. Who walks out? Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. I'm going to go with Randy Orton.
This is another really tough one. Because in that storyline, how do you have Kevin Owens lose? He just beat the ever-loving heck out of Cody Rhodes. How do you have Kevin Owens lose that match against Orton? I'm going to say Kevin Owens.
All right. Bronson Reed taking on Seth Rollins. Freaking Rollins. I'm going to go with Bronson Reed.
This is another difficult match, but I'm going to say Seth Rollins.
Nice.
For the WWE Women's Crown Jewel Championship, the Raw Women's Champion Liv Morgan will be taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion Nia Jax.
I'm gonna go with Nia Jax.
I do want Liv Morgan to win this, but I think it would make more sense. See, because the other match is difficult too.
Is it though?
Because, I mean, you can't have both people from Monday Night Raw win. You can't have both people from SmackDown win.
I'm going Nia Jax.
I'm going to say Liv Morgan.
All right. Cody Rhodes taking on Gunther for the WWE Crown Jewel Championship. I'm going with Gunther.
Against my better judgment, it's Gunther.
Yeah, because I think that it's easier for Gunther to defeat Cody than Cody to defeat Gunther, because you have the Kevin Owens involvement. So I think that Kevin Owens will be involved in this main event matchup, and I think that whether it's a distraction, it's an interference, it's a DQ, it's not a DQ, distraction, interference, I think Gunther's going to get the victory.
We shall see. But those are our predictions for Crown Jewel. I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Shotzi Blackheart, and you're listening to Markin Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 717. AW Rampage last week kicked off with the Undisputed Kingdom picking up the victory over the Gates of Agony, as well as Shane Taylor Promotions. I think it's too bad that Roderick Strong sat this one out, because he could have had one up on Adam Cole. Other than that, there was really no reason for this match. Roderick Strong spoke to Black Taurus and said that he wishes that he was still with them. They tried to woo him on Collision, but I'll put a pin in that Roderick Strong comment. On Collision, Jay White picked up the victory over Shane Taylor. I think every single time that Shane Taylor's in a match with a big name, he loses. So in a match like this, why should I care about seeing it? And more importantly, this took way too long for Jay White. To be in a feud with Hangman Adam Page, this took way too long to get done with this match. Back to Rampage, Anna Jay picked up the victory over Layla Gray. Layla Gray's last TV victory was in 2023. So I do think this was the appropriate length of match for Anna Jay. I do hope to see more matches with Layla Gray where she's winning. For what the match was, I thought it was good. You had Deanna and Taya Valkyrie watching this backstage. I don't know if they're going to try to get Anna Jay or if they're going to try to get Layla Gray. I don't know. On Collision, you had Anna Jay beat Viva Van. This was a lot like the match from Rampage. And I don't like these two matches. They don't make me think that she's capable of beating Mariah May, especially for a championship. If you're going to have Anna Jay go against Mariah May, the champion, then I think she should be facing talent that's signed to AEW and in winning positions. So that I think is unfortunate. You had Black Taurus pick up the victory over Beef. JD Drake is now with Beef since Anthony Henry is unfortunately injured. I thought this was a good showcase for Black Taurus. Horrible officiating in this. LFI beat Beef down afterwards. And even though JD Drake didn't make the save, Roosh still attacked him. You had Ricochet pick up the victory over Nick Wayne. On Collision, Ricochet beat Lio Rush. These are just, for me, these are just two random Ricochet matches. Takeshita came out after the match on Rampage. The one on Collision had Lio Rush confront Ricochet about MVP. Also, the match with Lio Rush was way more enjoyable than that Nick Wayne match. Although, I didn't get him grabbing a chair to use. That didn't make sense to me. Also on Collision, you had Penelope Ford pick up the victory over Robin Renegade. This is the standard AEW formula, like AEW booking 101. Penelope Ford has a match against a much bigger name on Dynamite, I think it is. So she needs an opponent like Robin Renegade. Even though it's a good showcase for Penelope Ford, it's always somehow Robin Renegade or somebody like that you know that's not the outcome. It's not going to be switched. Robin Renegade's not going to have an upset victory over Penelope Ford. I hate that booking. Always. The Outrunners picked up the victory over Maximum Male Models. This match reminded me of 2018 Monday Night Raw. It was completely over the top with everything. The referee looked completely lost. I'm completely over everything in this. You had Nigel McGuinness and Wheeler Yuta have a sit-down interview. Nigel asked Wheeler Yuta why he did what he did to Bryan Danielson. And Wheeler Yuta said that Bryan was long dead before he did what he did. And he doesn't take joy in what he does. But the Blackpool Combat Club does it because they need to do it. I don't know if that's going to lead to Wheeler Yuta somehow facing Nigel McGuinness or something. But Nigel, I don't know. He kind of seemed like he was on Bryan Danielson's side here. You had FTR pick up the victory over LFI. I think Dralistico desperately needs victories in AEW. Jake Roberts got involved. I liked Roosh preventing FTR from getting in the ring multiple times. Dax accidentally knocked Cash off the apron, and I thought that was going to lead to LFI winning the match. But they continued. There was a very confusing moment when Dax pinned Dralistico, and the referee counted, but Roosh reversed it into a pin, and the referee also counted that as well. Roosh was the legal person. So that was terrible officiating there, but I really wish that it was LFI winning that match. They did beat FTR down afterwards, and the Outrunners ran down to clear house. I really thought overall these two episodes, Collision and Rampage were just, I thought the booking was atrocious. It's just like copy and paste booking. On Dynamite, you had Orange Cassidy interrupt the opening video of the Blackpool Combat Club, and he said this isn't who he is. He's not a leader. But after what happened last week, he needs to stop Jon Moxley, and he'll do it alone in order to protect everybody else. I think it would be amazing if Jon Moxley beat Orange Cassidy with the Death Rider in like minutes, and that was it. I don't think that's the case, though. Later on, Blackpool Combat Club came out and said that one day everyone will understand what they're doing there. And John Moxley mentioned Orange Cassidy challenging him for the championship. And Mox was like, no, you don't make challenges. I made the challenge. I made the challenge when I broke Chuck Taylor's neck or whatever they did to Chuck Taylor last week. He cut him out of his life so he can get Orange Cassidy back on track. But it sets up Full Gear. John Moxley wants to test Orange Cassidy. And in that segment on Dynamite, they end up kicking Wheeler Yuta's legs out and wrapped a chair around his neck. And Orange Cassidy ran out to, I guess, try to beat the Blackpool Combat Club down. Wheeler Yuta joined in. Dark Order ran out to brawl. They got shut down. Darby Allin, probably one of the funniest things on, not one of the funniest. It was the only funniest thing on, the only funny thing on Dynamite, I should say. He gets stuck midair coming down from the rafters. It looked awful. Top Flight joined in. Private Party joined in. And then once everything was done, the Young Bucks showed up. And that led to their match. Private Party, thank God, picked up the victory over the Young Bucks to become the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Matt tried to use the ring bell at one point. Mark Quinn took it. He used it. He accidentally hit Isaiah Cassidy. That opened the match for the Young Bucks to have control. I liked Nick hitting that Falcon Arrow from the steps while Matt was hitting the Superplex. I did think that took too long, but Private Party wasn't done for. They had a pretty good match here. The Young Bucks end up dragging Mark Quinn all the way to the entrance, and while they were distracting the referee, Okada shows up, hits a tombstone on him. I like that little bit of energy left. Small little kick out from Isaiah Cassidy after the Young Bucks used gin and juice. It's like those little tiny details in a pro wrestling match can make a whole match. And I thought that was very well done. They lift him back up. He ends up ducking whatever they were hitting. The EVP trigger. So they pick him back up. And he ends up ducking it, so they hit each other. They did eventually hit it, but he kicked out of it. And then the Young Bucks used Kenny Omega's moves. They hit the V-trigger. They hit the one-winged angel. And at the very last second, Mark Quinn makes that save. They get out of the TK driver. They hit gin and juice. They win the match. And I was very, very happy with that outcome. It's something that we've wanted to see from Private Party for literally 5 years now. Just about. So I'm glad that they're finally tag team champions in AEW. I'm glad that they're finally champions in AEW. Later on, Daniel Garcia made Jack Perry look like a complete chump, asking him where he was. He threw him up against the wall and held him there. Jack Perry tried to get out of it. He held him there. He looked like a little chump. That was very damaging to Jack Perry's character, if you ask me. And then Jack Perry went into the Elite's locker room. They had Brandon Cutler shredding documents. And they said that they need to talk. Later on, they scurried off. Maybe by accident, they left Brandon Cutler behind. And the Blackpool Combat Club attacked him while John Moxley held Christopher Daniels. Why Christopher Daniels in that moment was caring at all about anyone from the Elite makes no sense. I thought that was the dumbest part. The whole reason why Christopher Daniels is an interim EVP is because the Young Bucks, what they did to Tony Khan, I feel like that was never addressed. It was just dropped. So I thought that was dumb. Going back, you had Adam Cole pick up the victory over Buddy Matthews. The start of this I thought was kind of slow. But I liked that Buddy was working Adam Cole's ankle during this match. At one point, they had the doctor trying to pull Adam Cole from the match, and Buddy Matthews questioned him running from the match, referred to him as fragile, and then Adam Cole hobbled back down to the ring. They brawled, kind of similar to what happened on NXT with Charlie Dempsey and Lexis King. But Adam Cole came back to get that victory. I liked the idea of Roderick Strong being one up on Adam Cole. So I was hoping that Adam Cole would have lost this match, but just to have Adam Cole have to face more people in order to get to MJF. But they gave him that victory right off the bat. Adam Cole thanked Buddy Matthews for reminding him of who he is. They shook hands. The lights go out, and when the lights come back on, Adam Cole was shaking hands with Malachi Black. And I thought that was really cool. So that match gets set up. Are we going to see him just run through House of Black? I hope not. I hope Malachi Black beats Adam Cole. You had Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis show up after that. He called Will Ospreay out, and Will Ospreay didn't show up. But Mark Davis showed up. Kyle Fletcher tried to hug him, and Mark Davis was like, no, you changed. And Fletcher said that Don Callis helped him see who Will Ospreay actually is. And Mark Davis should forget about him, just like Will Ospreay forgot about them. And he offered him a spot in the Don Callis family. Mark Davis said that they had an empire, and Kyle Fletcher destroyed it. And then he walked off in a different direction from where he came. I don't know where he was going. I thought that was weird. But I assume we're going to be seeing United Empire face off against one another there. You had Chris Statlander pick up the victory over Camille, and they played into the who is stronger story that they've been building to, so obviously that was good. I really don't get Camille losing the way that she did, though. And this match, I feel like should have been way longer. But I was disappointed because Camille was literally the most dominant NWA champion in recent history. So to have Camille come in the way that she did, and then you have win after win after win, but then you lose as a stepping stone for a match for Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné, where you don't really see in AEW so far, you don't really see the dominant side of Camille that was portrayed for months, for years. So I think that's unfortunate, but Mercedes attacked Chris Statlander after the match. She made Camille go to the back and said that when you want something done right, you do it yourself. The main event saw Swerve pick up the victory over Shelton Benjamin. I had higher expectations for this match, but they did have a good match. But it's kind of like a similar situation with Camille. For Shelton Benjamin to come in there, he beats Leo Rush, he beats Sammy Guevara, and then loses his third match to Swerve. And I think that only hurts Shelton to me. It puts him down a notch. But this match to me is like a lose-lose situation. Because I don't think Swerve should have lost, and I don't think Shelton Benjamin should have lost. But if they were going to make Shelton Benjamin lose to Swerve, I would have liked to have seen him be facing more dominant people and have a few more matches against more dominant people rather than people who don't win. That doesn't do anything for me. And then after the match was over, MVP made a phone call. At that time, I did not think we were going to see Bobby Lashley, but I was like, obviously that phone call is to Bobby Lashley. And then a remix knockoff WWE theme song played of Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley showed up. The Hurt Business attacked Swerve, they attacked Prince Nana, and they took out security. I feel like the Elite have been doing stuff like this kind of similar. Fast forward, the Blackpool Combat Club has been doing stuff that's pretty similar. And now the debuting stable of the Hurt Business doing something pretty similar. Especially since you had Blackpool Combat Club do what they did earlier. For what this episode was overall, could have used more women, less learning tree. I think this was a decent episode of Dynamite. So, that's Dynamite. Hey, Brennan, got any shout-outs?
Why did the chicken cross the road to listen to Brandon's shout-outs? Waka waka.
The first shout-out goes to the Pradeeps of Pittsburgh, which came out on Amazon Prime a few weeks ago. It focuses on a family that moved from India and an investigation into the family. It's a comedy. Each episode recaps a different part of them moving to the United States and leads up to the investigation trying to be solved. We see Naveen Andrews plays the father. Pete Holmes is a detective in this. The only other actor that I recognized was Ethan Suplee, who plays the neighbor. I hope that it gets a second season. I enjoyed this show, so I would say check it out on Amazon Prime. My next shout out goes to Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It shows behind the scenes footage of what went into his latest tour, which I really wish I could have gone and seen him, because I really think there's like almost nothing else like a Bruce Springsteen concert. And they were showing like rehearsal footage, which would have been cool to see in person. I thought the whole documentary was cool. It was like part concert, part documentary, where you're like seeing Bruce put the set list together. So I thought that was very well done. It's on Hulu. It's on Disney Plus. Check that out. The final shout out goes to Only Murders in the Building. The season finale was this week. I wish they were longer. But the way that they're able to write everything and tie it together, I just think is so good, and something that makes this show one of the best shows. I liked all the twists, all the turns that I wasn't expecting. Some of the stuff I was expecting. I'm looking forward to the next season. So if you've never watched a single episode of Only Murders in the Building and you like comedy, it's on Hulu. It's on Disney Plus if you have the gimmick. It's Steve Martin. It's Martin Short, Selena Gomez, plus a bunch of cameos. So check that out. Those are my shout outs. Now it's time for our
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. I just got to say, everything with the ECW stuff that's been announced so far, I've been popping for.
That's been really cool.
I popped big time. I know you didn't. For the Halloween video that WWE put out with Boogeyman and the WWE Superstars, I thought that the videos like that are always so funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mentioned it quickly last week. Ethan Page had a music video for his match against Trick Williams, a diss track. Trick Williams also released a response video, and he had Reverend Devon. Reverend Devon left in like the year 2003 or whatever, so I thought that was pretty cool. WWE also posted a photo of Motor City Machine Guns and captioned it, "Call the paparazzi because we've got new WWE Tag Team Champions." And I thought that was cool. like sort of like if you know sort of tweet, given that Alex Shelley started the Paparazzi Productions in TNA, which included later on Kevin Nash and Johnny Devine, but that was right before they started up Motor City Machine Guns in TNA. So I popped for that. You didn't even get a chance to speak on Motor City Machine Guns being officially in WWE as tag team champions. So I figured if you wanted to mark out over that.
Yeah, I definitely marked out for that. I'm very happy for them. Definitely happy for them. For some reason in my mind, I still sometimes hear whenever I hear Hail.
Yeah.
I always want to do the next word. I want to say Sabin. Like every time I hear Hail, I'm like Hail Sabin. I am very happy for the both of them. I think that they have such an incredible journey with everything that they've went through together as a tag team and individually. It's really nice to see them getting their credit that they have earned with this being tag team champions in WWE.
WWE put out a video of them visiting the headquarters, and Sheamus was there, and he greeted them, and he's like, "Oh, you finally made it." He goes, "Well, not made it. You know what I mean? Like, you made it to WWE. Like, oh, you guys are great, but like he was like struggling because it sounded like, oh, you guys finally made it to the big times, kind of sort of thing." Even though Sheamus wasn't meaning for it to sound like that, but I thought that was pretty funny.
Mean, it was a cool moment to see them also run into Bobby Roode.
Yeah. Sami Zayn had no idea that they were like there. I thought that was funny.
It's definitely awesome to see them there. I'm intrigued and looking forward to seeing what takes place. I marked out for that entire SmackDown ending with everything that was happening. Very happy for them. I'm interested to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah. So those are the mark out moments of the week, and that is episode 717. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on both platforms. Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/MarkinOut. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Markin Out 11. You can follow us on Instagram at Markin Out 11 as well. Purchase some t-shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. We would greatly appreciate that. Check us out on TikTok at Markin Out. You could stream the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, review, and markinout.com. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Have a fantastic week.